Hello, and welcome to my advanced web dev project. For this project, I've made a clothing store where users can also leave reviews on each product listed in the shop. So to begin with this, we'll start with the login page, and we'll try to log in to an account. If we can see here that there's an incorrect username and password. This was because example does not exist in the database. If we just try to only put one field in, both fields are actually required, so it will say please fill in this field. If we move on to the register page and try to register an account, we can start there. And we can see here that the user currently exists, so the message says please try again. As we can see here, it's the first login ID, tester's username, password, etc. So we can't use that account. But let's try and make one that does exist. Again, if all forms aren't filled out, it does require it. So let's set those auto example for this case, and we can see we succeeded because we got taken to the login page. So let's try logging in with that account, but with the wrong password. Let's try logging in. Incorrect username and password, we can see again, because if we refresh this, the username and password are both example, and for this, I didn't actually put the password to example. So let's do it this time, and we'll log in. And here we go. We've been taken to the profile page. So before I discuss this, I'll actually quickly run over the code on how this works. So here we go. So to register a user, we actually need to set some variable names up. These variables are equivalent to the request forms, which can be shown here as inputs. We can see the name is username, password, as well as name. The bio of this is actually going to be preset because we're going to set this later and allow the user to change it. So in order to actually execute an SQL query, we need to make sure the request method is a post request, and each input field is actually available in the request form. From here, we can search. We can set a variable called search and use an SQL query to select everything from the login details, where the username is equal to username. If this is true, the user obviously exists, because if the username is already equal to a username in the database, then we know that user already exists. So otherwise, it'll insert the details, name 2, password 2, username 2, and bio 2, that was preset, into the database as those values. And then we commit this to the database, and then render the index template, which is also the login page. So once redirected to there, we call this function, which is login attempt, as you can see in the URL. This is pretty simple. All we need to do is check that the request method is a post, and also again check if the fields have been filled in. If they've been filled in, then we set two variables to what the user entered in the forms. From here, we can select everything from where the login details table has the username and password equal to those forms, and if that's true, we can fetch one row where the username and password is equal to that, which will make the account. So I'll fetch the entire account, From here, we can use sessions in order to store variables across the HTML. The first variable, or session I should say, is logged in. We need this to make sure that the user is always logged in on each page. Other than that, we have a session variable for every column in the table, which starts from 0 as the index starts from 0. And then we can simply redirect the profile page, which we saw before. Otherwise, actually, I should say, as you saw before, if the user doesn't exist, we can display incorrect username or password, as well as if the user actually enters the wrong username or password. So this is the profile page. On this page, we can actually see the name, username, and bio. As well, we have 4 options for buttons: to edit the details, log out, delete the reviews of the user, which haven't been set yet for this particular user, but would be displayed here, and also delete the account. Finally, the profile page also shares a Chuck Norris joke of the day. This can also be refreshed through just refreshing the page, as we can see here. So to move on, if we edit a detail, we'll edit the bio, for example. So previously, we can see that the bio was, this is my bio. If we edit this and choose this text area, we can put, this is my new bio, and submit this form. And there we go, the bio's been updated to this is my new bio. We can do this again, for example, the name. We'll just do this now. If we click edit details again, sorry. Go on to the name, and we'll put this is my example name, and submit. Perfect. The reviews and the other functions I will come back to later. For now, I will actually go into the HTML and Python, show you the code for it. So the profile page displays the navigation bar in the sidebars as I've shown. We use, to pass over session variables, we use double squiggly brackets, as you can see here. So username, the name, the bio. As well as these are the buttons that we mentioned earlier. And the personal reviews for the user, which would be displayed if the user has left a review. And here is the joke of the day variable that we can pass through. So if we go into profile, we can see that the user has to be logged in to access the profile page. To get a joke of the day, it was pretty simple. We just request the API, use a variable to retrieve the joke list, and select a joke from that list. From there, it's pretty simple. Again, we just set a session to that variable so we can pass it over to HTML and access it. If we look at how we access the personal reviews for the user, we first have to retrieve the login ID because we need to understand that a personal review needs to come from that user. And how we join these two tables together, as we can see here, if we look, login ID is on the login details table, and if we go into a product review, we also have login ID. So we can understand from this that a particular user has set a review. So since we can see the reviews have all been set by user 2 for now, if we go into login details, the login ID for this user we've just made is 9, and we can see that there's no reviews made, therefore no reviews are being displayed. We use try and accepts because this allows us to pass any errors that are handled. This is especially important for this case because the actual length of the list, we're not actually sure of that yet. at the minute it's 0, but we would like to display 10 reviews. So because the length of the list is out of range, we can actually accept this and just pass over the variable for now as nothing. If a if a review does later exist, we can see the position of it. Since we want 10 reviews for that user, which is selected by through their login ID. If it does exist, we can just set the session ID to that review instead. Moving on, we can just simply render the profile HTML page with all the session variables that we could possibly need to display all this data. But for now, this is what we're here with. I'll move on to the next 3 functions once I go onto the home page and product pages. Home page is quite simple. It's just a nice picture with some big bold text, but it does include the Google API as well as all the other pages at the bottom of the footer. Again, this is quite simple. We can see like the markers on York St John University. To do this, we have to use JavaScript and use this to get our Google API key, which is especially important as we set that up in the cloud. We also have a div for the map. We need especially an ID sets map so we can use that later. To initialize the map, we need to set the function latitude for the coordinates of the location we want in particular, as well as the zoom level so we can see how in depth we actually want to see the map. Other than that, it's quite simple. From this we can actually display the location we want on every page, as we can see here, profile page. Let's see here, bottom right once again. So that's it for the home page. Moving on to the category pages, we can see that we have t-shirts, trousers, shorts, jumpers, and coats. Each category has 4 products, as we can see here. Trousers, shorts, some jumpers, and some coats. As we can see, the top of this card is actually displaying the category, which is especially important, for what I'll show you later, as well as the product itself, the description of the product, and the price. As well as this, we have a review button. If we click this, we can actually review a particular product. By doing this, we actually select that specific product's card and take it over to another page. This will only include the product name, description, and price, but we can also have a big section to leave a review. And you can see we can type as much as we want in here and use a submit button to submit the form. Below this is actually 4 different reviews left by other users for this product. As we can see, if we go into our table and go into product reviews, we know this product ID is 1, because if we go into product and look at a blue crew neck, the product ID is 1. So if we go into product review, we use product ID to cross over and merge these 2 tables together, and we can see 1 has been reviewed 4 times. If we look back to our other page, there's 4 reviews with the exact right reviews listed. So let's leave a review. If we go here, I think this top is great. It is very blue. We'll submit that. And we can actually see the review has now been added to that particular account's review section. And if we go back to the t-shirts and the blue crew neck, we can see now the final review has been added. I think this tab is great. It's very blue. If we go back to the database and refresh it, we can see it's also been added here. The product ID is 1, the user review, the login ID for that user that's left it, and the review ID. We can see it matches. The login ID is 9. The account we're currently on is the example, which we just made, and the login ID for that is also 9, for example. So that's how we leave a review for a particular product and display it. We can also do that for any other product, but I'll finally show you the last features of this website, how we can log out. You are now logged out. Okay. Once it loads, we'll be something here, and now the session logged in is now false since we haven't logged in yet. So we can't access any of the pages just yet until we again use our login details. Let's use example again. Let's log back in. And there we go, we still have our reviews, the bio. This is my new bio, which we changed earlier. We changed our name, everything's still being displayed. If we want to actually delete the reviews, we can do that too. If we click this button, a pop-up will occur, and the reviews have gone. Now if we go to t-shirts, and click on the review for that particular t-shirt, that review has also been deleted from the t-shirt review as well, which is quite nice. To show you the code for all these pages, let's first go to just the t-shirts page. This is quite simple. We just used 4 different cards for each product, as there's 4 products, and we set each heading or paragraph to a particular variable, which is actually a list, so we need to get the right item in the list. If we go to our particular Python function to do this, we can see that this form is add shirts, which gets triggered through the URL, since this is the only way to actually activate it. We need to make sure the user is logged in and make sure it's in the session, and also set the t-shirt ID to 1, since as I showed you before, all the t-shirts in their products table, their category ID is 1. So now we can actually join 2 of these tables together, being the category and products. This is so we can display the type of product category there is for each product. And we can do this through the t-shirt ID, because the t-shirt ID, the category ID is listed on both tables, so we can use that to join each table together. From this, we use fetch all, because this will fetch every product in the table where that product is a t-shirt, and we can store this in a list where we can iterate through the list and append each item to that list, and then again set this list to a session, so we can then choose a particular item in that list to show. And then it's quite simple. We can just redirect to the t-shirts page with all this information and particular sessions that we need. And if an error occurs, we can redirect to the login, which doesn't happen, but it's there just in case. Now, if we look at the product review, this is quite a tedious part of the website. There may have been a better way to do this, but the way I executed this, it's still very efficient and it works perfectly fine. It's just a little bit long. So again, we had to use try and accepts because we don't know how many reviews are going to be on the page and the length of the reviews. Because we want to display 5 reviews, but if 5 reviews haven't been set yet, then obviously the length is going to be too long. There's not going to be enough items in the list for the length of the list. So by using try and accept, we can actually accept this error because the fifth element, for example, in that list won't even exist yet. So we can actually just set that to nothing, so nothing gets displayed, and when it does, we can store a session to that fifth element or fourth element, for example, which can be shown again. Let's say for the t-shirts. Let's go for the red polo top this time. We can see only one product is being displayed because only one product review is actually being listed for the red polo top. As we can see here, so the product ID is 2. This red top is perfect. We go into here, we can see the red top is perfect, so only one review has been set for that. So we can see here like that is accepted this, and the session is just nothing for now until we add one. I think this top is great. We can submit that. Go back to the t-shirts. Review the red top. And now that second one has been filled in because the second review has been listed for this product. This has had to be done for the review page in this way because we only use one HTML file, because we can just fill in this file through the particular product name and description and price and all the reviews associated by using these forms. So finally, if we go into profile again, I'll show you the last 3 functions. I think I've shown you logout actually. So we can see there's one review here. If we choose delete review, this is quite simple, a little pop-up, and the review has been deleted, which we can see if we go into t-shirts, red polo top. There's now actually only one review of the red polo top now. And then lastly, if we want to delete this account, this is the username example, we can delete this account. Your account has been deleted. Press OK. And now we cannot access the example account that's been deleted from the database, as we can see if we go into login details. Here we go. There is no example account associated anymore. Thank you for watching. Cheers.